All right. Looks like we finally got this working. Technical difficulties yet again, folks. Sorry about that. Let's hang on and let people get back over here. Because now we just lost lost everybody that was watching. How you doing? We're going to be. I got a lot to show you tonight, so this is bugging me that it's not coming up right. But such is the life of a YouTuber. Unfortunately, I've got to go back and delete that other live that we tried to do just now that didn't work. This one, delete that one. Then maybe people will come over here. Okay. All right. So we'll get going. People will show up. There's a bunch of people coming online. Sorry for the hassle. Some technical glitch with CBN's TriCaster in the back end or something. So I'm here in Jerusalem on my balcony, as I have been for many months throughout this war. We've got some potential good news for you on the hostage front. We're going to be talking about that. And I'm going to tell you more about what's going on in Syria. I just came back from the northern border in a place called Majd al-Shams. And I'm going to tell you more about what I found up there and let you listen to what some of the Druze that I talked to had to say about what's going on over in Syria. So there are some, big changes. Do me a favor, though. Let's try to get people back over here by uh, getting you to like and share this podcast, first of all. Also, do me a favor, and just so you know, we're going to be uh, putting, we're going to be taking your questions. And what we'll do is, except it looks like you don't have the ability to ask questions. So I got to enable the live chat. There we go. Now we got live chat. Okay. Good grief. Okay. So head on over to the live chat there and let me know where you're watching from. And then if you have questions or comments while I'm talking, then put them in the chat over there. Our team of moderators is going to take and collect up all of your questions and comments and put them on a document. And then in about 30 minutes, we're going to go over to my channel on the Hot Zone here on YouTube. And we're going to, but yeah, there is now. Uh, we're going to go over to my channel and I will answer your questions over there because I got a lot to get through and I'm trying to do lives on both CBN and YouTube and my YouTube, and CBN's is acting poorly. So there's all that. All right. Hello, everybody. Good to see you. Tisra Pinto, Scott, uh, Jesse here from Ohio. Rick is watching from Northern Ireland. Wow. Yeah, do me a favor and put where you're watching from in the chat. And I love seeing that. It also helps the algorithm. While I'm waiting, I'm I while we're waiting for a few more people to get online, I'm going to show you something really cool. Uh, I got a chance to go to Nimrod's castle today. Nimrod's fortress, I guess they call it. And Nimrod's fortress is uh, just above, just up the mountain above Caesarea Philippi here in northern Israel. And if you have been to Caesarea Philippi, if you know anything about that, uh, that's where they have like the gates of Hades, which was a kind of a cistern or a pit, and that's a place where they did pagan sacrifices, and they would sacrifice their babies to Moloch, and then they'd throw the babies in this pit. It was a horrible, horrible, horrible place, but it's kind of been redeemed, and it's got a really cool biblical backstory. Just up above that is a fortress called Nimrod's Fortress. Now, I'm going to show you a video about that and let you see what that looked like. I got a tour of the place by a cool new friend, a guy that I met up in Majal Shams. I'll tell you more about in a minute. But first, I want you to see what I got to see at the fortress. So this is Nimrod's Fortress, built in the 12th century on top of an even more ancient pagan temple to Baal. And there's a secret passage over here. Let's see where it goes. Now, this fortress is massive, and it just goes on and on. It encompasses two hilltops or two mountaintops. So it's very well preserved in a lot of places. Some of these stones are absolutely massive. That stone right there is probably weighs as much as a Sherman tank. Uh, it's this part of the castle was built in the 12th century, and as you come out here, you can see the incredible view. This is looking down on Kiryat Shimona, and just down at the bottom of the hill there is the Caesarea Philippi. So I just put a couple of shots of B-roll in here so you could see what we got to see up there. Really cool. I wish I'd had more time to explore it, but we'll have to go back there some other time and do that. Nevertheless, it was, oh, this part, I want to pause it right there. The grassy area on the left of your screen, according to the archaeologist who just gave us a tour of this place, took us up there this morning. He has been studying for about 7 years this site, and he believes that the spot in the grass right there behind that big stone is the spot where Jesus ascended into heaven, where he was, what do they call it, transfigured and into a ball of light and went up to heaven. And he had very compelling arguments as to why that was the actual place. So the other cool thing he told us is that at the time, this was a pagan temple. And the rock that you see right there in the center of the screen was considered to be there. There's a, you can see down at the bottom of that rock, there's a flat part, and it's kind of buried a little bit. But he said that was supposed to be the throne of the god Baal. And so so Jesus came up to this pagan temple and then was, I keep wanting to say transmogrified, was taken up into heaven from right where this is. And the messaging was something along the lines of, uh, I just formed an army of people and gave them the power to destroy the power of the Baals, of the different pagan gods and the sin that makes people into slaves. So uh, it was really cool to hear him explain all of this on our little tour today. And again, I wish we had had more time to to go. But all right, so please make sure you hit the like button, folks. It does help to share this and to get the word out so that it'll get shown to more people. Unfortunately, with the technical difficulties, we just lost like 500 people that were watching. So let's hope that that bumps back up as I start talking. Okay, now the news that's being put out on social media and on the mainstream media right now is that President Trump made a statement last night at a dinner for lawmakers in Washington that he expects that there will be 10 hostages released in very short order. So does this represent a breakthrough in the negotiations, or is this more of the, sort of Trump being optimistic? Which is it? So we're going to break that down. There's a guy uh, who's the Hamas military spokesperson. His name is Abu Obeida, and he made a speech on Al Jazeera, of course. Thank you, Placido. Very nice of you. He made a speech on Al Jazeera a couple last night or a couple days ago, and it was a typical terrorist speech. The guy came on wearing. I'll see if I can show you this picture here. The guy came on wearing his full ninja suit right there. Focus, focus, focus. Okay, that's him. That could be his sister. I mean, who knows? The guy's everything. The only thing he's showing is his eyeballs. But anyway, came on and gave a pretty typical terrorist speech, talking about the occupation and the Zionist forces and blah 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 blah. Um, which let me just say as an aside, as I was reading the speech, I thought, wow, this is what Tucker Carlson is starting to sound like. But I'm going to talk more about that over on my channel on the Hot Zone. So we'll move on from that. But anyway, suffice it to say, in his speech, he, in the most roundabout and sort of difficult way possible, brought it out that Hamas might actually be willing to negotiate a ceasefire without the condition that the Israeli forces leave Gaza completely, because that's been their main condition all along for the last 12 weeks. We're not doing a ceasefire. We're not releasing hostages unless Israel leaves Gaza and leaves Hamas in charge. Well, you and I both know that's a non-starter. This is not happening. So Israel's been very clear about that. They keep coming up with different ideas for a ceasefire, kind of, trying to get something to break loose with Hamas. But I don't think that any kind of compromise is what's going to make Hamas come to the table. What is going to make them come to the table is what Israel has been doing, and that's ramping up the pressure militarily to a level that we have not seen since the beginning of the invasion into Gaza. And I mean, they are absolutely going hammer and tongs at Gaza right now. And I think, I'm not positive, but I think they have more troops in Gaza now than they have had at any point in this war. I mean, they are really going full court press on Gaza, and that is putting the pressure on Hamas. They are eliminating upwards of 100 Hamas fighters a day. And of course, you won't hear that on Al Jazeera. You won't even hear that on the AP. But I repeat myself because they're basically the same at this point. The only thing you'll hear from the AP is how many women and children were murdered by Israel and today. And of course, as the numbers come out and they get parsed a little better, it turns out that Israel is almost exclusively eliminating military age males. Now, there are a significant number of younger than military age males that are being eliminated. I'm talking about under 18, young men between the ages of like 13 and 18. And that's because Hamas is resorting to using those young men as fighters and actually is grabbing these children, putting a gun in their hands and saying, run that way and go attack the Zionists, actually hoping that the kid will get eliminated by the IDF so that they can say, oh, the IDF's killing children again. You see how this is going, right? Now, Hamas is engaging in a real full court press of their own right now about uh, hunger. They're saying that we're starving in Gaza. Well, there are still a couple hundred trucks a day of aid going into Gaza. And not all of the aid is going through the hands of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, which is run by that American NGO. Some of that aid is still going in the old-fashioned way through the World Food Program and the United Nations UNHCR or UN or UNRWA, and it's getting turned over to Hamas, and Hamas is selling it just the way. But Hamas is pushing people to put out the word more that people are starving in Gaza. What they're trying to do is they're trying to ramp up pressure on Israel to make concessions in a hostage negotiation as well. Now, keep in mind, yeah, I mean, you would have a real hard time finding actual video of people in Gaza that appear to be starving. I've seen people starving. I've been in Africa many times, and so I know what starving looks like, and that's not what you're seeing in Gaza. You still see people who are overweight in the videos coming out of Gaza. As a matter of fact, the people there, they might be a little unkempt, to say the least, or dirty, because there's not a lot of fresh water flowing into Gaza now. But they are they appear to be healthier than most Americans, to be honest. So there is no hunger per se happening in Gaza at this point. There is only the kind of hunger that your teenager has when it's 1 o'clock and he hasn't had you haven't made him lunch yet, and he's like, I'm dying, I'm starving, that kind of thing. So it's a lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth in Gaza, but it's there's not major hunger, but they are pushing that narrative hard. And of course the AP and Al Jazeera, but I repeat myself, are parroting that nonsense very much. But like I say, as the numbers get parsed, they come out from the uh, uh, Gaza Health Foundation, or Gaza Health uh, Ministry, which is a subsidiary of Hamas. Everybody knows that. But if you look closely at the numbers of people that are confirmed dead, more than 70% of them are military age males. And they were killed fighting Israel. They were killed in the fighting. They were not, just at a Bible study or something and got killed. Now, of course, the media is making great hay out of the church that was uh, hit by a piece of shrapnel the other day. It's the only Catholic church in Gaza, and I think I got rid of the pictures of it. I might have. Well, no, that's not it. Okay, so I'll get to that in a minute. Uh, there was the only Catholic church in Gaza, and it was not struck by an airstrike or anything like that. It was hit with a piece of shrapnel that came from a tank shell as they were in a firefight with Hamas. So the IDF was actively engaged in a firefight, and a piece of a tank round skipped off a building, shattered, skipped off a building, and ended up in the church, in this Catholic church, right? So 3 people were killed, a couple more were injured, including the bishop of the church there, and the media is just going crazier. The Israel bombed a church. Well, no, they didn't bomb a church. It was some collateral damage. The church is still intact. There's a little bit of damage up in the top. They're still holding. They held mass in the church today. So there's pictures out. I was looking for that picture, see if I could show it to you. Um, but that, yeah, I mean, the church is still intact. There, I've got. Let's see here. I will put this picture up of the mass that is being um, held in that church today. Okay, take a look here. Okay. So this is a picture taken inside the church that was struck by the tank round. And you can see they're holding mass in the church, and the church is not destroyed. All right. So I'm giving you all this to try to give you context so that you understand just how much fake news there is floating around out there. But if 70% of the people that are being eliminated in Gaza are military age males that were fighting the IDF, that's very, very good numbers, especially in a place where the enemy is using human shields, fighting from within areas that are designated safe zones, and so on and so forth. Now, of course, this Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, that's they're uh, passing out food. They keep trying to say that those guys are shooting people that are coming to get food. That's patently untrue. Every time that allegation comes out, it gets debunked. So we don't even need to spend time on that. All right, I got more to show you here. Not a lot of time to do it. First of all, I want to let you listen to a Druze man that I interviewed yesterday in Majdal Shams. His name is Salah Rafa Majdal, and listen to what he had to say about what's going on inside Syria.
I can't stay still watching my relatives, my people being slaughtered without doing anything. I know I don't have military experience, but at least I did what I would do. What the minimum I can do to help my people. I can't see them dying and not doing anything. We heard about the withdrawal, but what they organized themselves again. But now they talk of the military clauses, so it looks it's not the country who's attacking. It's not on official way. It's the Bedouin that the country can't control them. So the same people that attacked with the uniform, they took off their uniform and attack again. And now the killing, the fighting, the killing is still happening. It didn't end. Turkey is supporting ISIS. They give him the drones. We saw videos of drones, suicidal drones that attacked El Sueda. The drones are from Turkey. The weapons, Turkey is helping the genocide that it's happening now in El Sueda.
So we had a great interview, and I'm going to put the entire interview up over at chuckholton.com and then on my YouTube page over there at the Hot Zone as well. But the Druze that live in Israel have a much, much better standard of living than the Druze that live in Syria. And the Druze that live in Syria are saying, we want to join Israel. We want to become a part of Israel. The problem is that if you look at the map here, we'll go over and take a look at the map, and give me a second to get to um, Sweda. Okay, so this is the Sweda governorate here. Okay, and this is where the Druze live. And then this is the current border of Israel. Majd al-Shams is right up in here, right here. Okay, so that's Majd al-Shams. Now, between Majd al-Shams and Asweda is about a 2.5 hour drive of area that's controlled by the Bedouin or the ISIS affiliated militias that are in there. So in order to form some sort of humanitarian corridor that they're calling for from Israel to Asweda, they would have to, the IDF would essentially have to go in and fight those people and create that corridor, and that would be a difficult fight. It'd be very, very big hassle to maintain, be very difficult. So I'm not sure what the answer is for Asueda. That governorate, again, Druze people, they are fighting for their very survival. Ahmed al-Shara, self-declared president of Syria, uh, came out and gave another speech, and his speech was aimed mostly at, it's just the kind of diplomatic pablum that you hear from politicians. Oh, we just need to all uh, love one another, and we're all one people, and all this kind of stuff. Meanwhile, his own troops are covering up, painting their cars with mud. That's something they do in Syria. Matter of fact, we do it when I go to Syria too, because it makes it harder to see from the air. So it's harder to drop a drone bomb on your car. So what they do is they get a roller and they mix some of the, dust of their people in there, the sand that's ubiquitous in Syria, and mix it up with some water, and then they roll it on their car like paint and let it dry, and then it makes their car kind of camouflage. So what we're seeing is government vehicles with government markings being covered up with mud and then driven into Asweda, and there are videos coming out like nonstop now, happening even as we speak, of atrocities that are taking place inside that Druze area. Now, the Druze are fighting back. There's some very serious combat that's happening. As a matter of fact, I did have that video, a little bit of video of that. Hopefully, this won't get me demonetized on YouTube, but take a look at this. Oh, no, wrong one. Wrong one. I'm going to turn this down so the audio, because it's just a lot of shooting and fighting and things like that. So this is the tamest video that I could find to show you, because most of the video has a lot of blood and bodies and things like that in it. Okay. Now, along the Syrian border, the Druze, this is the Druze that are right there in Majd al-Shams, wanting to cross and go help their brethren fight, go help them fight. Now, the IDF has been trying to keep them from doing that, and with varying levels of success. So that's what's going on there. I've got a lot more to share with you, but I've run out of time here. We're going to have to jump over to the hot zone now. So if you want to continue the conversation, go to the hot zone with Chuck Holton, and I will be live there in just 1 minute as soon as I get all the things switched over. And thank you for your patience. Appreciate all of you. God bless you. And please, if you want to donate to CBN, go to cbn.com.